Tail of the tape for our third fight of the night, brought to you by F3. Caleb Walls and Pernevlon Sheppard. Pee-weezy, 7 years the elder, but Caleb Walls has an inch in height. Each man came in at the featherweight limit, and both are debuting. Let's send it inside to handsome Michael Hansen to get these guys inside the cage.
Are ready for our next bout of the evening. 3 rounds in the APFC Featherweight division. Making the walk to the cage first, from Chicago, Illinois, Pernevlon, Pee-weezy Sheppard.
Pee-weezy Pernevlon Sheppard. Very decorated collegiate wrestling career. 3-time NCAA D2 qualifier, NCAA Super Regional Champ, and Freshman of the Year. David Evans, you know a lot about wrestling. How difficult are those accomplishments?
Man, I might know a little something, and I'm not going to be biased here, but I love the pedigree. The wrestling pedigree has brought me far in my career. However, this is not a wrestling match. This is a fight. He needs to go out there, obviously play to his strengths, but he has to be more than one-dimensional. He needs to bring 3 dimensions out there if he wants to be successful. I'm confident he can do so.
Hey, maybe 4 dimensions. We'll get some scratch and sniff on that cage. You never know. This fight, can't be said, was a lot of fun, training hard at VFS and did some time in New Mexico at a familiar gym in Jackson Wink with guys like Dan Argueta. He said that experience was a lot of conditioning in New Mexico.
And we have my former teammate, Carlos Hernandez. We were on Team USA as amateurs together. He was a world champion. I was a world medalist. So, I mean, just training with that pedigree. We talk about Jackson Wink. We talk about his wrestling pedigree. And just now knowing that he has someone like Carlos Hernandez, who is a UFC flyweight, by the way, in his corner, I know he's in good hands.
When asked about how he got the nickname Pee-weezy, because it is quite an interesting one, he was the head wrestling coach at Montini Catholic a while ago, and one of the kids just called him that, and it's stuck ever since.
Pee-weezy, I mean, hey, if you want to be a fighter, you want to be a rapper, it's multi-directional marketing right there.
Branding is as important as ever. Here is Pernevlon Sheppard, 33 years young, representing Indiana. It's that amateur MMA debut. The jitters, I imagine, are there, but given the experience, I'm sure he's ready for it. Pee-weezy inside the APFC cage.
From DeKalb, Illinois, Caleb Walls.
Caleb Wall as lasered in as you possibly could be. Said that the main goal is getting the hand raised, but long term, it's just stacking wins, David.
Man, this dude looks determined as he walks out here. It's almost Mike Tyson-esque. He's walking out here, man. He's just very ominous, but he seems focused. He seems driven and determined to go out there and put on a great performance.
I really liked what he said about the approach to this fight. He said the biggest thing is staying calm, composed, and disciplined for 5 minutes at a time. He's expecting this one to go late.
He seems very measured, and I like that. You know, you never want to expect to go in and, you know, everybody, I'm going to knock him out in 30 seconds, because it almost never happens. You can knock him out in 30 seconds, and you can think that, but what happens when you get to the 2nd minute, the 3rd minute, the 3rd round? So if he's going in there expecting that, maybe he'll get a knockout. You never know. Better safe than sorry.
We talked about Pee-weezy's decorated collegiate wrestling career, but Caleb Wall has been wrestling since he was 4 years old. So I would say, obviously, not to equate or anything, but he's no slouch when it comes to wrestling.
No, and I kind of like that, and that's going to be exciting for us and the fans. Because what happens when you get 2 strong wrestlers together, the wrestling cancels each other out, and it forces them to punch, it forces them to kick, strike, knees, elbows. So chances are we may not see a wrestling match tonight.
Who knows what we'll find? Caleb Wall inside the APFC cage.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is set for 3 rounds in the APFC Featherweight division. And a special thank you to the Hammond Police Department. And now, introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a freestyle fighter. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, official weight 145 pounds. He comes in tonight making his debut from Chicago, Illinois, Pernevlon, Pee-weezy Sheppard. And across the cage, his opponent fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist standing 5 feet 10 inches tall, official weight 145 pounds. He also comes in tonight making his debut from DeKalb, Illinois, Caleb Walls. And your referee in charge is Rob Madrigal.
Madrigal, one of the best in the business. His first assignment of the night here at APFC X. P. Weezy versus Caleb Walls. Debut on both sides. High wrestling expectation from both. This fight brought to you by F3 Energy. Once again, we've got that orthodox and southpaw.
Both of these guys taking the center of the cage right away. Neither one of them wants to give an inch. We see Sheppard bouncing in and out. Walls seems to be more stagnant in his stance.
Caleb Wall really trying to stay at range, but Sheppard gives him no chance. Just rips him down to the canvas.
Beautiful takedown there. Now he's in great position to just be on top. One thing I like already from Sheppard is his head position when he's on top. He's keeping his head in his chest over his opponent. Now, one thing I know as a wrestlers, where do we hate to be? On our back. So we're going to see if Wall's going to be able to get back up here, and he does.
Caleb Wall got cracked on the way up, but eyes are clear. Now he's pushing on P. Weezy.
Sheppard was looking for that big right hand and followed up with that shot to get the first takedown. I think that's going to be his game plan so far. He's just pressuring forward, looking for the right hand, looking for a leg attack afterwards.
A lot of hip feints from Caleb Walls. Seems like he's trying to anticipate. Oh, P. Weezy!
Beautiful head kick by Walls. However, he got a little too overzealous and came in just a little too hard. Sheppard, being a wrestler, just changed levels, got right back to that leg position and that leg attack, and now he's in good position to work from here. Possibly go Darce. He has that bottom leg hooked, which is going to keep Walls attached to him, so he's not going to pop right back up like we saw last time.
90 seconds left on the clock. If there's one guy I don't want on top of me, it's a 3-time NCAA D2 qualifier, David.
Very much so. I mean, wrestlers are known for not only maintaining position, but ground and pound. And if Sheppard is anything like I think, he's going to be looking to put some damage on his opponent as he just did.
Caleb Walls valiantly getting back to the feet, now trying to address the lock around the ribs.
Walls doing a good job getting his back to the cage here and getting hand control. He's not being super explosive, looking for his way out, you know, slowly but surely being methodical, and that's the only way you're going to get away from an experienced wrestler. You can't skip over pennies trying to get a dime.
Huge mouse on the left side of Caleb Wall's face, courtesy of some of those P. Weezy attacks. I mean, that power for P. Weezy.
For sure, man. I think that power coming in with that big right hand and following up and trailing his legs with the shot, I mean, it's working for him so far. 30 seconds here in the round, I'm going to have to lean, you know, on Sheppard. You know, even right now, it doesn't seem like he's doing a lot. Good head position, good head control of Walls, has his back against the cage. He's putting points in the bag right now.
Wayward knee led to some progress right there. Now Sheppard pounding away. 15 seconds to go. He's getting maybe a little overzealous as well.
I mean, he just pressure. I mean, a fight like this, he's probably been amping himself up for this fight for the longest. Knowing his opponent has the same pedigree as him, that just probably made him feel like he has to raise his performance just that much more.
Caleb Walls cracked in this one, but still very much here. Pernevlon, P. Weezy, Sheppard looking as impressive as expected. David Evans, walk us through the replays from round one.
In the battle of the wrestlers, Sheppard's pressure has seemed to just overwhelm Walls a little bit. Walls had a moment, landed a huge head kick. However, Sheppard stayed calm, stayed cool, stayed collected, and got back to what brought him to the game here, that nice double leg. And not only getting the takedown, but solidifying and tying up the position when he gets there. I'm going to have to go 1-0 Sheppard right now.
I agree with you, David, and the question becomes, if Caleb Walls can find himself in a similar position, will he maintain that discipline? Will he maintain the composure to not rush in the pocket?
Now, we talked about composures. We said that with Walls as he was walking out. Now I think he needs to put his foot on the gas just a little bit. Sheppard, I don't think Sheppard is much better than him as far as skills are concerned. He's just pulling the trigger every time, and Walls is getting caught watching.
And when you pull the trigger and you're P. Weezy, it's a 50 caliber shot.
That 50 cal, about to spit a hot 16 right now.
Rob Madrigal gets us going for round two. Caleb Walls still fainting, eats some big shots from P. Weezy.
Walls did a good job of taking the center there. However, he caught some heat with that right hand, and now he's back with his back against the cage.
Oh, big slam from Pernevlon. That had decorated collegiate experience written all over it.
Big scoop with the single there by Sheppard. Landed in half guard. However, Wall's doing a good job getting his left knee on the inside there. Maybe wants to solidify a half guard here. But like I said earlier, wrestlers generally aren't comfortable on their back. So as I look at Walls, I'm not really seeing him attack from his back. And when I say attack, I don't just mean punching and striking. I mean getting your feet in the right place on your opponent's hips to create space. Getting your hips off of your opponent's center line, even when you're in your back. He needs to think about and train those things going forward. So when he's in these positions, he can still be in the fight. Right now, Sheppard is in a good position right here.
Wall's trying to engage all of the limbs at his disposal. Now letting loose a little bit.
Walls he's doing a better job being a little active on the bottom here. Maybe look for him to transition to that arm bar. His hips are kind of off to the side. He needs to get just a little bit more. Sheppard, I don't know if Sheppard sees it coming or he's just comfortable where his pressure's at. Wall's doing a great job with that left hand, scooping under the left foot of Sheppard. And what you'll see there, if Sheppard gets that arm bar, he's going to look to rock and try to knock Sheppard off balance.
90-second left on the clock in round number 2. Debuts on both sides. Pee-Weezy backs up momentarily. Caleb Walls back to his feet, but eats some shots for his troubles.
Walls was looking for that arm bar. Sheppard was like, I don't want none of that. Just let's get back to our feet. I think Sheppard's so comfortable with his takedown at this point in the fight. He's comfortable on his feet now. He knows he can pressure. He knows he can sit back. As we saw when Walls landed that kick earlier, you know, Sheppard is great at changing levels and looking for his leg attack.
Oh, big leg kick right there from Caleb Walls gets Sheppard backing up. Under a minute to go, and Caleb Walls putting the pressure on.
Walls doing a great job of taking control of the real estate, keeping that lead hand out there to gauge the distance, but moving forward, which is what I said he needed to do. He was getting caught looking a lot, but he's pressuring now, and that's going to open more windows for him to be successful.
Another big kick from Caleb Walls. You know, he has been grounded several times, but the confidence has not left this young man at all.
One thing in wrestling, I think that's why it's one of the better sports, is you have to develop a short-term memory. You have wrestling tournaments where you wrestle 4 or 5 times in a night. If you lose, you still have to perform, and that's what we're seeing Walls doing. He's going back to that mental programming, and he's still in the fight.
I guess I should have been a wrestler with my memory. There's a takedown from Sheppard. Seemed like he was getting a little uncomfortable with being touched up on the feet.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, Walls put the fire on him. He said, hey, you've been putting my back against the wall. Let me see how you feel when your back's against the wall. And Sheppard answered that call, got the takedown, and got on top, and finished the fight in a good, finished the round in a good position, excuse me.
Walls and Sheppard extends themselves to the 3rd frame. Let's take a quick look at a replay from round number 2, brought to you by F3 Energy, David.
Here we have that big scoop slam there by Sheppard. He must have had a little F3 before this fight, man, because he continued to work there, landed inside guard, and continued to work and just dominate positionally. However, Walls came back and was pressuring, moving forward, and that opened a lot up for him, and he just needs to continue that. I think I still want to go Sheppard for the last round, but that could be a toss-up. I think this is anyone's fight going into this 3rd round. So.
You know, David, right after that leg kick landed, Caleb Walls was looking for the old Chris Weidman on the,
the double eye poke.
The
double eye poke. As the old saying goes, it's not what you saw, it's what you can prove in court. If the ref didn't see it, it didn't happen.
Amen. Rob Madrigal gets us set for our 3rd and final round. Both guys debuting, but looking like seasoned competitors. DeKalb, Illinois, Caleb Walls, and Chicago, Illinois, Pernevlon Sheppard.
One thing I'm liking from Sheppard right away is he's throwing that jab out there. He landed that big right hand.
Caleb Walls with a wayward takedown attempt ends up on his back, and Sheppard just plants him on the cage.
Whenever you shoot, man, the first principle is wherever the head goes, the body follows. Whenever you shoot, you want your head up, your chest up, and your butt down. When you shoot with your head over your hips like that, your head's down, you're going to go down. And now Walls is in a bad position, and Sheppard's in a great position here, looking for the front headlock. Maybe look for him to transition and try to spin around the back of Walls here. Put his what Sheppard needs to do here is bounce Walls and get Walls to get his weight on his hands. And once he does that, Sheppard will be able to transition, and we won't be in a stalemate like we are now.
Caleb Walls trained for this at United Elite MMA. was really happy with how the camp went. Both guys' cardio is looking pretty fantastic here early in the third.
Yeah, I haven't seen any guy just look winded right now. They both seem focused and confident, you know, in their cardio, and it's carrying them into this last stanza of the fight.
Less than 2 minutes to go, and Pee-Weezy is locked on it. But Caleb Walls with a gutsy effort to get back to the feet.
Walls looking for that arm drag. However, they're both a little bit slippery, a little bit wet, so it was to no avail. And Sheppard just making the adjustment, continuing the pressure, continuing the hand control. He's doing a great job with that right hand underhook. Keeping it high is going to keep Walls back pinned to the cage, excuse me. And right here, Sheppard can really just kind of hang out. He's done a lot of work in this fight. I don't want him to get in the mindset that he has to force a finish or force anything.
Oh, Caleb Walls with another knee, but Sheppard taking the opportunity to dive in. With 1 minute and 10 seconds to go, if I'm Caleb Walls, I have to make some exclamation points.
You have to fight. If you're Walls at this point with 60 seconds in the fight, you need to throw out everything. Throw out the technique. You need to get your back off the cage. It doesn't matter how, just do it. He just needs to take the initiative to be where he's not right now. And I think he's just a little bit comfortable in this position with Sheppard. And he may think that he's fighting, but however, every second that goes by is another point that Sheppard is putting in his pocket.
You know, we've talked a lot about Mike Tyson tonight. I don't want to be the one to say it, but Pernevlon Sheppard's ear is right there, David.
You know what, Bane? I'm so glad you're not a cornerman right now, because the liability insurance would be through the roof.
30 seconds to go in this third and final round. Caleb Walls has been just cloistered to the cage. Pernevlon Sheppard looking in charge.
Doing a good job right now with that body lock. He was looking to scoop and maybe just body lock his opponent to the ground.
Final 10 seconds. Pee-Weezy. Oh, roll right there from Caleb Walls, but too little too late, David.
Too little too late. I mean, he has the right mindset, as I said earlier. Just moving, putting yourself in a position to win. It doesn't always have to be pretty. That was a pretty roll, however, and it got him in a better position. If we saw a little bit of that a little sooner, I think this fight would have been a lot more competitive.
I almost want 2 more rounds of this. I mean, these guys are absolutely high technical fighters. Let's take a look at the replay from round number 3. Full fight.
That beautiful head kick there by Walls. Sheppard was able to get his hands up, but still did damage there. However, Sheppard made the adjustments and was looking for his leg attacks throughout the entire fight. Speaking of leg attacks, that big scoop slam there, Sheppard lands in the side control. And that was pretty much the story of this fight. Walls pressuring, Sheppard making the adjustments, getting to the legs. Little word to Chris Weidman right there. However, didn't fade Sheppard. He stuck to his game plan.
Yeah, I gotta say, I was really impressed with both guys' abilities. I mean, when you think of an amateur debut, the level of fighting that we just saw probably isn't what you'd expect.
That was definitely a pro caliber fight, and I think that's a testament to the training that both of these guys did to prepare.
Looks like the judges have added it all up. We send it inside to Michael Hansen to find out the decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action, we go to the scorecards. The judges scored the contest 29-28, 29-28, and 30-27. All for your winner by unanimous decision, Pernevlon Pee-Weezy Sheppard.
Pee-Weezy gets it done on the scorecards. Now undefeated Chicago, Illinois. Your man's in charge. Caleb Walls, I think a lot to be impressed about, though. I mean, this was a great performance from him.
He has a lot to build off of from that performance. Like I said, I think his opponent just took the initiative a little bit more to pull the trigger in moments where he needed to. However, from Walls, there's not much that he did wrong from a technical standpoint. I think he just needs to understand the mindset of being a fighter. And as he turns pro and advances, that's something for him to focus on.
Our F3 Energy tail of the tape for our next bout of the night at 205 pounds. It is Marcellis Edwards and Wesley Daniels. 2-0 for Daniel, while Edwards has 5 fights under his belt. 6 years separate them. We'll see what happens at light heavyweight. Let's send it to Michael Hansen.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready with our next bout of the evening. 3 rounds in the APFC light heavyweight division. Making the walk to the cage first from Streator, Illinois, Marcellis Supercell Edwards.
Marcellis Supercell Edwards rides into tonight's fight on a 2-fight win streak, looking to keep it alive. At 27 years young, he said that his entry to mixed martial arts was watching the WWE way back in the day and getting into street fights himself. I asked him, hey, you hit any moves? And he said, I collected a couple Sweet Chin musics back in my day.
I have a confession to make, Ben. I started wrestling because I wanted to be a professional wrestler. However, I was not big enough. I was not tall enough, so I did the real thing. But no, I'm really looking forward to see what Edwards is going to bring to this fight. I mean, his height and his length alone, I think he has a lot to work with. He said he has a very unique style that he plans to bring to the cage. I believe he referenced Michael Venom Page. That's a lot to live up to, but I mean, if he lives up to it, it's going to be a fun night for us to watch.
Definitely a bar that Supercell has set. He said that long-term, his goal is 1 FC, fighting in their kickboxing category. And, you know, so far, amateur kickboxing undefeated, amateur Muay Thai experience split at 1-1 apiece. His actions are living up to those words, David.
Very much so, man. I'm excited to see him cut some angles, throw some kicks, throw some hands, man. I think his mindset, he seems to be like a very fun person just in general. Let's see if he brings that out to the cage and has some fun tonight.
Lot of experience. We'll see it on display. Marcellis Supercell Edwards.
The walk to the APFC cage from Crown Point, Indiana, Wesley Daniel.
His second APFC appearance. Welcome back, Wesley Daniels. First time we saw him was at APFC 7 in September. He got a 30-second knockout that night. I'm assuming tonight he's going to want to do the same, David.
He definitely doesn't believe in overtime. So if I have anything to say to anyone watching this, I would say don't blink. I mean, both of these guys seem very dynamic and very explosive. I just feel like then that someone's going down.
Absolutely. At light heavyweight, one strike could send you packing. And between these two heavy-handed practitioners, I would say that's the expectation.
Very much so. I mean, we can expect to maybe get a little blood on our suits here.
I hope so, man. Hope so. Well, we asked him about that last fight. He said, since September, I've wanted to get in. 2 opponents have backed out, so I'm just itching to compete. He's got the urge. He's going to need it against a guy like Marcellis Edwards. Outside the ring, a physical therapist assistant, so he's got a pretty acute understanding of what he can do to one's body. Here he is once more, Wesley Daniel.
This fight is 3 rounds in the APFC light heavyweight division, sponsored by F3 Energy. And now introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a kickboxer standing 6 feet 2 inches tall, official weight 205 pounds. Coming in tonight with a record of 3 victories with 2 defeats, from Streator, Illinois, Marcellis Supercell Edwards. And across the cage, his opponent fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist standing 6 feet 1 inch tall, official weight 205 pounds, coming in tonight with a record of 2 victories with no defeats, from Crown Point, Indiana, Wesley Daniel. And your referee in charge is Josh Stewart.
Josh Stewart, third man inside for this light heavyweight assignment. Don't blink, don't leave, don't close the screen here between Wesley Daniels and Marcellis Edwards.
You got the timer ready, Ben?
Over under on 30 seconds. Wesley Daniels in the red gloves with the all black shorts, and Marcellis Edwards with the multicolored trunks. Orthodox on orthodox here. Leg kicks early, David.
Well, what that tells you when people come out throwing leg kicks right away, they're just trying to gather the range. They want to see if I can touch this guy from here. And then usually what follows after that is a big strike.
If somebody said that they're going to be almost emulating a Michael Venom Page type style, probably chopping that tree down is the advised strategy.
Yes. You see Edwards with a very traditional Muay Thai type stance. I mean, I don't think either one of these guys look forward to going to the ground.
Supercell touches through the guard there. Dances back to the center. Love that stance switch into a head kick.
Very much, just switching the hips like that. He's just trying to throw off the rhythm of Daniels. And what's it? Oh! Daniels came back with a good 2-3.
Once Wesley Daniels comes alive, it is impossible to stop him.
I'm actually liking the patience I'm seeing so far.
Oh, as we talk about patience, Daniel uncorking a blistering combo. Now in this clinch position up against the cage, Edwards with the advantage. 90 to go on the clock. You know, we talked about this being a don't blink fight, but I'm liking the patience, yeah.
That was a beautiful inside leg trip there by Edwards. I was not expecting to see that. He did a great job switching his hips, getting that right leg in on the inside, and just scooping out the base of Daniel. Daniel's not in the best position. Edwards doing a great job keeping his head high and going into full guard right now.
Just inched into this position. Supercell on the back. Locking up that body triangle. I mean, Wesley Daniel thinking, I thought I was fighting a kickboxer, now I'm fighting off a rear naked choke.
Just when you think you have all the answers, Edwards changes the questions.
Ooh, that's tight, David. He's fighting the hands. How does he get out of this?
If you're Daniel in this, you're in this position, he's doing the right thing. He's attacking top hand, keeping his chin tucked. What he needs to do now from here is look to get his back against the mat. I think the habit is, if you are not in the know, is you want to try to pressure back into your opponent. But when you do that, you just keep yourself in trouble. Daniels needs to get his back to the canvas, because if his back is against the canvas, Edwards.
Oh, that's it! Supercell taps out Wesley Daniel. He said he was going to be like Michael Venom Page, but he looked like Charles Oliveira in there.
And a nice little jig there to celebrate.
Wow, I mean, if you're Wesley Daniel, that was the absolute last thing you're expecting. David Evans, here's one more look at that submission.
Right here, Edwards went right after the neck as soon as he got that back. Daniel, at this point, I think he was just beat mentally. I think he still could have fought there, but Edwards just had that class there on his throat, was able to just make the adjustments and get the rear naked choke finish.
Marcellis Supercell Edwards makes it 3 in a row here at APFC X. 2 submissions to his name now as an amateur. Beyond impressed. Let's send it inside to Handsome Michael Hansen to make that stoppage official.
Gentlemen, our referee, Josh Stewart, put an end to the fight. The official time, 2 minutes, 33 seconds of round number 1. Declaring your win by submission via rear naked choke, Marcellis Supercell Edwards.
Supercell by way of sub. Unreal performance here tonight, just clinical. Dealt with an undefeated power puncher and choked him out.
I want to say the most MVP part of that performance was the post-fight celebration, I think, right?
Maybe that's what he meant. The behavior is MVP-esque. Everything else, much more of a submission specialist.
I think he was trying to throw everyone off. We were expecting to see this dynamic striking performance, but he's like, yo, I am a mixed martial artist, and he went out there and he got the win by any means necessary.
We'll talk about heavyweight classes. Let's take it to a tail of the tape here for our next fight of the night at 265 pounds. It is Xavier Body Bags Cartas and Terry Martin Jr. Terry Martin Jr., the son of UFC legend Terry Martin, making his debut. Xavier Cartas, 19 years young, 1-1 so far. He does have a sizable height advantage and weight. We'll see if it helps him. We send it inside to Michael Hansen to bring them in.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready with our next bout of the evening. 3 rounds in the APFC heavyweight division. Making the walk to the cage first from Richmond, Indiana, Xavier Body Bag Cartas.
Born on September 18th, 2004, Xavier Body Bags Cartas, 1-1 as an amateur, coming off of a first-round knockout in October of 2023. He began at 12 years old with Shotokan Karate. Now he's a black belt in that discipline and as well-rounded as one can be here at APFCX.
Coming off a knockout, I'm pretty sure he wants to go out there and put that kind of performance up again. You know, he seems very domineering, very confident. I expect for him to come out, take his time, and just pick his spot. And when he picks that spot, I expect somebody to go down.
And talking about picking spots, Cartas said specifically, I'm going to catch him coming in with an uppercut, and by staying at range, that's how I'm going to set it up. Good head on his shoulders. Very much
so. That tells you that he's pretty measured and he's done the research on his opponent. He knows his opponent is a wrestler, so he's looking forward to his opponent coming in, dropping levels, and meeting that right hand.
19 years young and all the body hair that you could possibly need. It's Xavier Body Bags Cartas here at APFC.
Are we thinking more Roy Nelson right now?
Maybe. To the cage from Chicago, Illinois, Terry Martin Jr.
His father was former WEC champ and UFC veteran Terry Martin. That Terry fought the likes of Stephan Bonner, Chris Lieben, Vitor Belfort, and actually TKO'd Chael Sonnen, which can't be right, David, because last time I checked, Chael's undefeated, undisputed.
You know what? There's something about just mindset, you know? I mean, work to Sean O'Malley, right?
Terry Martin Jr. started wrestling in 7th grade, felt like this MMA journey was almost an eventuality, but did mention that, hey, I wasn't forced into this, I chose this.
I'm very excited to see how he goes out and implements his wrestling and see how he's grown as a fighter. He said he's been around not just wrestling, but MMA his whole life. So I want to see, you know, how many aspects of the game that he's going to bring into this fight.
And the big thing that Terry Martin Jr. possesses is a lifelong experience of being around the fight game. He went to most of his dad's fights in Vegas, says that, listen, the pre-fight jitters that these guys might be experiencing ahead of a debut, I just don't have that because I've seen this so many times.
I understand that there's something to that familiarity, but there's also something to being nervous that can just really set you on fire and get you out there performing. I mean, he seems very confident. He seems very collected. He's coming out to Metro Boomin', so he's like that. And I got to give a nod out to my boy Metro, bringing the energy to APFC in this entrance.
Majored in finance and works in IT consulting as well. Smart, intellectual, and has the legacy of a combat sports legend. Terry Martin Jr.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is set for 3 rounds in the APFC heavyweight division, sponsored by Third Coast T-shirts. And now introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a striker standing 6 feet 3 inches tall, official weight 262.4 pounds, coming in tonight with a record of 1 victory with 1 defeat from Richmond, Indiana, Xavier Body Bag Cartas. And across the cage, his opponent fighting out of the red corner, a freestyle fighter standing 5 feet 9 inches tall, official weight 247 pounds, coming in tonight making his debut from Chicago, Illinois, Terry Martin Jr. And your referee in charge is Rob Hines.
Rob Hines, third man in for this heavyweight affair between Terry Martin Jr. and Xavier Body Bag Cartas. Martin Jr. said that he kept his dad out of the fight camp. You know, Terry Martin was more concerned for this than he was, is what he said.
Yeah, and that can be overwhelming sometimes when you have we talk about legacy tonight, right? When you have a dad that has that kind of name, That can put a lot of pressure on you. But Martin getting right to his game plan, right to the wrestling. Nice single leg. I like what he did. He made the adjustment and ran the pipe.
Vicious shots here from Terry Martin Jr. Not wasting any time.
He didn't explode through that single leg. He made the adjustments and he ran the pipe, which is a more economically favorable takedown. Looking to land big strikes here on top.
Xavier Cartas just closing up here, trying to, looks like, eliminate the posture. Probably should try and get back to the feet, maybe.
Cartas doing a great job. However, what Martin is doing is keeping his hips involved. When you're against the cage, one thing you want to worry about on top, you want to keep that head pressure, but you also want to keep your hips engaged. That's what's going to pin your opponents back to the canvas.
Massive shots from Terry Martin, but Cartas trying to threaten with a few submissions.
Cartas coming over the top, throwing his legs, looking for the triangle. I think Martin's aware of it. What he needs to do is not freak out and not explode out. He needs to do what he just did, slowly but surely shimmy his way out of there. Now he's in an even better position here on inside guard.
1:40 left on the clock here in round one. Terry Martin Jr. looking for a sub, but Cartas trying to ride with it.
Is he gonna go with the wrist lock here? We can't
That's
tell.
it.
He got it.
The son of a legend gets it done in one. Terry Martin Jr. with a submission.
He is like that for sure. It doesn't have to be pretty, but it was effective. He got on top, got the takedown, got on top, went to work, landed ground and pound, isolated that wrist, and that was all she wrote there for Cartas.
This crowd at the Hammond Civic Center coming alive for Terry Martin Jr. David Evans, walk me through this fight finishing sequence.
Beautiful single leg entry right there. What I said earlier is I like he didn't just explode through it and waste his energy. He made the adjustments, ran the pipe, and got his opponent where he wanted him. And the second he did that, he immediately went to work, landing strikes, keeping his head pressure. And then once he got the opportunity to isolate that wrist, we saw him go for the wrist lock.
Welcome to the ranks of the unbeaten Terry Martin Jr. Absolutely a name that we'll see back here at APFC, I'd imagine.
Looking forward to it.
We send it inside to handsome Michael Hansen to make that submission finish official.
Ladies and gentlemen, our referee Rob Hines put an end to the fight. The official time, 1 minute 27 seconds of the very first round, declaring the winner by submission via Americana, Terry Martin Jr.
As pumped up as a volcano and as explosive as one, Terry Martin Jr. by way of sub and Americana. I mean, David, that's a difficult one to get.
I mean, very much so. I mean, I didn't want to say it because I mean that name has about 3 or 4. I mean, that move has about 3 or 4 different names, and we couldn't really see. It was so fast, you know, the transition. But yeah, it's very hard to get. But he applied pressure and he put his opponent in a position to where he had to give him a limb. And the second he got it, he took advantage of it.
We take it to the tail of the tape for our next fight of the night at 155, brought to you by F3 Energy. It is Luis Unzueta and Vince Zofkie. Zofkie 3-2 overall, Unzueta 2-2. 2 years go to Chicago's Unzueta and 2 inches in height. Both guys came in at 155. Let's send it inside to Michael Hansen to bring these fighters in.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready with our next bout of the evening. 3 rounds in the APFC lightweight division. Making the walk to the cage first from Chicago, Illinois, Luis Jericho Unzueta. You guys all good? Y'all good? Yeah.
Luis Jericho Unzueta, 2-2 overall. Last time we saw him was at APFC 4 in April of last year. That night, it was a second-round TKO setback, but since then, he has eliminated all distractions and is beyond focused on righting the wrongs, David.
Speaking of righting the wrongs, man, look for him to come out with a chip on his shoulder. He really feels like he has something to prove. I mean, me as a fighter myself, I'm a testament to the fact that losses can either make you or break you as a fighter. And I think he's going to go out there and prove that getting rid of all the distractions and becoming more focused is going to make him that much more of a better fighter going forward.
After that loss, he quit his job managing a restaurant and banquet hall to just completely dedicate 2-3 times a day of working out, training, and becoming the best martial artist he can be. He thinks this is the time to get it all back on track, and at 26 years young, there's still plenty of time to find his way into the win column. Here he is once again, Luis Jericho Unzueta.
Hey, from Rockford, Illinois, Vince Zofkie.
Vince Zofkie says he'll stand and bang with anyone, and up until that point, he's done just that. Described himself as more of a jiu-jitsu player, but said, my goal's not belts or ranking, it's just be the best I can be.
I got very much Way of the Peaceful Warrior vibes from this guy, and I think he's going to go out there and look to exploit, you know, his jiu-jitsu strengths. He's going to go out there and maybe tie his opponent up. I don't know if I see him going out there looking for the kill, looking for the finish right away. I think he's going to be a little more methodical and get to where his strength is, and that's that jiu-jitsu that you speak of.
UFC's Mando Gutierrez and his brother Miguel are big training partners. Miguel actually won on APFC 9, so we know just the caliber of bodies that he is working with. 1 stoppage against Nick Harrington in May of 2022, and then a decision against Mike Locke in September of 2022. Since then, Vince Zofkie's just been searching for the win column.
Hey, maybe he'll find it tonight. I mean, he has a tough test in front of him. Somebody coming off of a loss. However, if you want to get a win, what better stage than to get one on the APFC stage? Like the cheetah print there.
Sorry, David. A lot of those tattoos that Zofkie's been tattered with, he's done himself. He's an artist.
Hey, more power to you, man.
We'll see what masterpiece he paints tonight. Vince Zofkie in his APFC debut.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the APFC lightweight division, sponsored by F3 Energy. And now introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist standing 6 feet 1 inch tall, official weight 155 pounds, coming in tonight with a record of 2 victories with 2 defeats, fighting out of Chicago, Illinois, Luis Jericho Unzueta. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a freestyle fighter, standing 5 feet 11 inches tall, official weight 155 pounds, coming in tonight with a record of 3 victories with 2 defeats, from Rockford, Illinois, Vince Zofkie. And your referee in charge is Josh Stewart.
Josh Stewart getting this assignment here at 155. Zofkie taking on Unzueta. And if you're curious, Jericho is his legal middle name. Full name, Luis Jericho Unzueta.
Unzueta coming right in with that right hand, taking the center of the cage. Zofkie, however, answering back, just pressuring forward with a barrage of punches.
Knee to the clinch, Unzueta trying to trip up the legs. Zofkie minding the P's and Q's, but now getting tagged upstairs.
Unzueta did a great job there.
Zofkie plants one on the chin.
Beautiful new. Unzueta did a great job setting up his strikes with the hands attacks. He was just fighting hands, saw the opening, through the hands. That was great. And then Zofkie did a great job answering back. Not just one shot, multiple punches in that combination.
Nice takedown from Unzueta, and he just jumps right over into side control, David.
They were going tit for tat in the striking, and then I think Unzueta was like, hey, let me throw another wrinkle in this. Let's see how the grappling is. He wants to get a taste of that. Right now, he's in a great position, north-south to side control, looking to isolate his opponent's head here.
Once again, tonight's fight's brought to you by F3 Energy. These guys absolutely pumped full of that peach mood.
Unzueta looking to maybe get knee on belly from this position to try to gain better control of Zofkie.
patience from both guys being displayed midway through round one.
They're just looking for their opening, you know, trying to get their rhythm of their opponent and just figure out what move is going to be your best move next.
Elbow and knee to the midsection from Unzueta. Zofkie laughing it off. Now moving, trying to transition, but Unzueta locks up a choke.
Right into the guillotine. Great transition there by Unzueta. I'm liking everything that I'm seeing so far. He got a dominant position. He didn't just rest.
I think he might be out. Zofkie could be unconscious here. Wow.
The focus has paid off.
Luis Jericho Unzueta renders Zofkie unconscious in round number one.
Slick transition there. I was liking everything I was seeing. The hands, setting the hands up, got to the ground, set up that transition by beating on his opponent, threw some slick little elbows, threw a couple punches on top, which forced Zofkie to in the mindset of, I got to get out of this position. And the second Zofkie made his adjustment, we saw Unzueta checkmate with that guillotine.
Killer instinct displayed by the 26-year-old, hopping back in the win column. David Evans, walk me through it.
Right there, we saw Zofkie just come in, kind of threw caution to the wind, landed a combination. Unzueta answered with one. They were pretty much even on their feet, both landing power shots as we saw that left hand by Zofkie. But who made the adjustments? Unzueta. Nice leg trip there, got into the dominant side guard position, and he was just flowing and floating on top. And then as we saw Zofkie make the adjustment there, Unzueta checkmate guillotine, put his opponent to sleep.
Vince Zofkie is up and responsive. That is definitely good to see, but tonight belongs to Luis Jericho Unzueta. Never been to a decision, and that streak still continues. We send it inside to Handsome Michael Hansen to make that stoppage official.
Ladies and gentlemen, our referee, Josh Stewart, intervened and ended the fight. The official time, 1 minute, 56 seconds of round number one. Declaring your winner by technical submission via guillotine choke, Luis Jericho Unzueta.
Welcome back to the win column. All of his stoppages have come in the first round. It's kill or be killed for Luis Jericho Unzueta. APFC X storms on. Let's take it to our next tale of the tape. Staying at lightweight, it's John Medina versus Johnny Mologousis. The undefeated Mologousis does have 2 years in age and 3 inches in height. Both guys came in at 155. Puerto Rico's John Medina looking for his second win. We send it inside to Michael Hansen to bring them both in.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready with our next bout of the evening. 3 rounds in the APFC lightweight division. Making the walk to the cage first from San Juan, Puerto Rico, John Medina.
John Medina, one of the individuals that got a contract at the APFC tryouts down in Puerto Rico, is here in Hammond, Indiana. Coming off of a third-round stoppage over Uniel Lopez in February of 2022. He said, you know what, I'm gonna take a little time off from MMA, focus on my Muay Thai by picking up an IKAF championship just last year, David.
He says he wants to put Puerto Rico on the map as far as MMA is concerned. He spent the time focused on Muay Thai, did very well in the IKF series. However, he also made a statement that says, Puerto Rico, we're known for being strikers, we're known for boxing, we're known for kickboxing. However, he has a wrestling pedigree as well. And against an opponent like Mologousis, he's gonna have to, you know, he's gonna have to try to waver off the wrestling attacks.
The grappling waters are Johnny Mologousis' domain, but John Medina says, listen, I love spearfishing. I'm a big aquatic activity guy. I can hold my breath underneath the water for a very long time. It's sink or swim in Hammond, Indiana. Started training at 16 years old, like you mentioned, big base in wrestling, but also a lot of boxing experience for John Medina. 23 years young, born in November of 2000. David, they just keep getting younger.
Look, man, I wasn't going to say nothing because I'm going through a bit of a crisis myself. I just turned 30 a few months ago. And, yeah, man, being around all these new millennium people that are born, man, I'm like, gosh, I'm having a crisis.
David, you talk like you're a grandpa.
Man, hey, I'd have been around the block a few times, young man. Let me tell you, back in my day, man.
One of the first individuals from the APFC tryouts to make it to the official show. Like you said, he wants to put Puerto Rico on the map. That starts against Johnny Mologousis, who we know him. He's a tough customer for anybody.
Mologousis, say that 3 times, man, go.
Johnny Mologousis, Johnny Mologousis, Johnny Mologousis. But right now, it's all John Medina.
And now making a walk to the APFC cage from Chicago, Illinois, Johnny Mologousis.
Some want to call him the Sandman because he's just been putting people to sleep. Coming off of a first-round TKO of Tom Caballero at APFC 9 in November of 2023, Mologousis is itching for his 3rd win in a row, and that undefeated record, it gets prettier, David, with each win.
As it gets prettier, the pressure grows. I know Mologousis has, you know, everything and all the tools to be successful. I've seen him knock someone out. I've seen him fight 3 rounds and just go through the fire. I think he has everything that it takes, but more importantly, I believe he has the mindset. The mindset to go out there and fight, the mindset to go out there and grind and win. I think this is going to be an exciting fight.
He's stayed within 10 pounds since his last fight and says, listen, it's been a lot of boxing this fight camp. 4 of my main training partners are in the Chicago Golden Gloves finals, so it's just been hands for Mologousis.
I mean, maybe we're going to see him bring, you know, another knockout. I mean, we've been talking over and unders all night, Bane. What do you got?
Oh, I think anytime Johnny Mologousis graces the stage, a stoppage could be imminent. We send it to handsome Michael Hansen.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the APFC lightweight division. Special thanks to Diamond VIP guest Brandon Williams. And now introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a freestyle fighter standing 5 feet 7 inches tall, official weight 155 pounds, coming in tonight with the record of 1 victory, no defeats. Damas y caballeros de San Juan, Puerto Rico, John Medina. And across the cage, his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a freestyle fighter, standing 5 feet 10 inches tall, official weight 155 pounds, coming in tonight with a record of 2 victories, no defeats, from Chicago, Illinois, Johnny Mologousis. And your referee in charge is Rob Madrigal.
Rob Madrigal gets the assignment here between 2 undefeated lightweights. Johnny Mologousis aiming to move to 3-0, and Puerto Rico's John Medina trying to put the country on the map here in Indiana. Orthodox on both guys. You can see John Medina in the camo shorts, Johnny Mologousis in the all black.
Medina going right for that low calf kick there. Maybe, you know, as a...
Oh! Mologousis with a crushing right hand into a takedown.
Well, we can forget about those calf kicks, can't we, Bane? I mean, Mologousis just came right in, explosive behind that right hand.
John Medina getting swarmed early in round number 1. The Puerto Rican in the trenches. Johnny Mologousis stops it early.
Just too much there. Just too much there from Medina. 1 punch right after another, and I don't think he ever had a plan of letting up until the ref pulled him off.
Power, pressure, perfection from the still undefeated Johnny Mologousis. The Sandman takes another soul.
Man, I think a few more seconds and Medina would have been maybe on the canvas. So, I mean, I think the ref did a great job of stepping in when he did. Huge right hand. Mologousis stepped in behind it, was looking for the takedown. I mean, we kind of expect that from him, you know, with his wrestling pedigree. But what I am more impressed by is not only the ability to throw combinations, but his punch selection. You saw him go body, head, and set up every shot that he threw.
And John Medina was just glued to the cage, trying to survive. That finishing sequence brought to you by F3 Energy, Johnny Mologousis, an Energizer Bunny. 3 in a row, 3 first-round TKOs. I mean, what is it going to take to stop this guy?
Man, I don't know. With that blitzing attack and that blitzing power, we're going to need to see him go against a wrestler, a grinder. Like, I don't even know what to tell you, man. I just think from a technical standpoint, he's so clean. I think he's ready to just rise up opponents and ready to go to the next level.
Clean and easy. We take it to Handsome, Michael Hansen.
Ladies and gentlemen, our referee Rob Madrigal intervened and ended the fight. The official time, 32 seconds of the very first round, declaring your winner by TKO, Johnny Mologousis.
3-0, all by first round TKO. Johnny Mologousis said that the Golden Gloves training partners has been the focus. And man, I mean, if he was going to a Golden Gloves competition, I'd favor Mologousis.
I mean, I definitely would have gave him the nod there in the Golden Gloves. We were in the boxing ring, but I just think he just added another layer to his game tonight. I mean, we knew he had power. We seen him knock people out. We knew he could wrestle, but I think he just took it up a notch. The combinations, the punch selection, the pressure. I mean, he has everything he needs to be successful.
The action continues. Let's take it to a tail of the tape for our featured prelim of the night. Tom, the status quo returns against undefeated Gustavo Perez. 9 years separate these two gentlemen, with Tom Quo being slightly taller. Each guy came in at that lightweight limit, but 1-0 has to go. Let's take it to Handsome Michael Hansen to bring the fighters into the APFC cage.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are ready for our next bout of the evening. 3 rounds in the APFC lightweight division. Making the walk to the cage first, from Chicago, Illinois, Tom, the status quo.
Taiwan's Tom, the status quo, has racked up a fan base that is quite sizable following his quick first-round TKO of John Takuri at APFC 9 in November of 2023. That was his second fight with us, his second win, and he told us it's going to be a third tonight.
I like his style, man. He has a very eclectic striking style, and he's very exciting and fun to watch.
Outside of the cage, he started school at the University of Illinois studying psychology because he said, you know, I've had some past mental health struggles, but more importantly, I want to learn about behavior. I want to learn about patterns, because if I can employ those skills inside the cage and make you think I'm doing something and hit you with something else, I'll be an even better martial artist because of it.
The cerebral part of the game is what separates the good fighters from the great fighters. Being able to not only understand and know yourself, but being able to read and idealize opponents before you even make contact with them is a skill in of itself. And I'm excited, and I'm happy to hear that from a young fighter.
He was quite academic in his talking with us in the fighter interviews. And one funny thing he mentioned was the last fight was just too quick. We'll see if the 22-year-old can have a longer one. It's Tom, the status quo, once again at APFC.
Now making the walk to the APFC cage, from Chicago, Illinois, Gustavo Perez.
Born in the tough streets of Illinois, it's Gustavo Perez. He said that growing up, I couldn't afford to look like an easy target to those around me, so I had to learn how to fight. And since then, he's ripped off 3 wins in a row, all stoppages. I'd say he learned how to fight, David.
He's definitely a fighter's fighter. I mean, he spoke to having to deal with bullying and fight to protect and to survive himself, and how that helps him in the cage here. I'm excited to see the pressure that he brings and the intensity that he brings because of that.
There is a level of viciousness rippling just beneath the surface of Gustavo Perez. When I asked him about Tom Quo, right, this challenge that the status presents, he said Tom's an objective and I have to terminate him.
Hey, I mean, I couldn't have said it better myself. I think he's just focused on one thing, just going in there, doing damage, and getting the W.
It is interesting. He stated that he's more of a grappler. He's content with standing and banging, but I expect we'll see Gustavo Perez try and test Quo on the ground. Gustavo Perez, 3 fights, 3 finishes. making his APFC debut against one of the hottest prospects I'd say we have.
Man, Quo is, like I said, been very, very exciting to watch here. I think this is the perfect matchup. You know, you have the intensity here in Perez versus the excitement and the electricity that Quo brings. I mean, this is going to be an explosive fight.
We'll see who terminates who. Gustavo Perez inside the cage.
Ladies and gentlemen, this fight is 3 rounds in the APFC lightweight division. And a special thank you to the Hammond Police Department. And now introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner, a mixed martial artist. He stands 5 feet 9 inches tall, official weight 156 pounds. Coming in tonight with a record of 2 victories and no defeats, fighting out of Chicago, Illinois, by way of Hsinchu, Taiwan, Tom the Status Quo. And across the cage, his opponent, fighting out of the red corner, a mixed martial artist standing 5 feet 8 inches tall, official weight 155 pounds. Coming in tonight with a record of 3 victories and no defeats, from Chicago, Illinois, Gustavo Perez. And your referee in charge is Rob Hines.
Rob Hines, our 3rd man inside the octagon. Taiwan's Quo taking on Chicago, Illinois' Gustavo Perez. Both gentlemen undefeated. David, I want to highlight again the 9-year age differential. Gustavo, the elder. We get going. Quo versus Perez, our featured prelim at APFC X.
Quo coming out with a lot of bounce on his step, just looking to just inch forward and land his strikes. Good teeth to the body there by Quo.
Perez already meets the canvas, just trying to zombie his way into the pocket, David.
Perez in on that single leg. I mean, Quo was throwing some heat. Great job making the adjustment there by Perez. Barely missed a shot coming in. Now he has Quo's back against the cage, working against that single leg, looking to maybe get his opponent down to the ground.
Oh, Quo trying to rip that left hook off the break.
Great job striking there by Quo off of the break. You don't really see that too often. That's how you know he's educated in his approach to striking.
Speed advantage definitely in Taiwan's Tom Quo's favor. Beautiful leg kick there from him.
I think Quo's comfortable just sitting on the outside, picking his shots.
Gustavo Perez is telegraphing those takedown attempts all the way from Los Angeles.
Now we see Quo making the adjustment there, like he was going over the top at first. Now he's looking to maybe set up that uppercut as Perez comes in on the inside.
Just under 2 minutes to go. Quo taps him once again with a shot. Perez with a thudding leg kick.
Perez throwing that leg kick without throwing any punches. That's a little dangerous there, and that's how you get caught coming in. Now he's getting back to his grappling game.
Tom Quo with a crafty head kick. Goes back to the well. 90 seconds left in round 1, and Tom, the Status Quo, is setting the bar high. Quo has a great striking rhythm, just a fighting rhythm with it of itself. Throwing punches off of the strikes, keeping his range, keeping his distance, has a good bounce to him. Man, I think any minute he can land something big. Gustavo Perez slinging sledgehammers, but it is going to take a little bit more finesse to take out Tom Quo. He needs to set up that shot. Just diving in, you're liable to just run into a knee, an uppercut. It's dangerous. And I like his grit, wanting to just get to his opponent, but we have to be smarter about that. Tom Quo punishing him at range with these kicks, creating a danger zone that Gustavo Perez is just getting torn up in. Oh, there's a shot from Gustavo. Big shot by Perez. Telegraphed it just a little bit. Massive right from Quo. Stinging right hand by Quo. Did a great job of not rushing in afterwards. He's able to maintain his distance and his reach. If anything, Gustavo has that dog in him, Ben. Absolutely, the durability for Gustavo Perez. No quit for Chicago, Illinois native, but 15 seconds left. Tom Quo, beautiful uppercut on the inside and a right hand. Gustavo hurt. Perez in on the shot. I was a little worried because he's been leading with his head on those takedowns. I mean, I thought he could run into something. He did run into a right hand at one point. However, now he's where he wants to be, with Quo down, taking us back at the end of this round. A legendary first round already between these two undefeated lightweights. Tom, the status quo, just ripping him up at range, David.
Ben, I cannot hear myself talk after that first round.
Here's the replays from it. Tom, the status quo, piercing right hand over the top. David Evans, I mean, he is just too good.
Man, yeah, just really layered with his striking and not rushing into anything. He's been really picking his shots here, left hook. But however, Perez always had an answer, whether it's just grit or the takedown. Ended that round on top where if you're a judge, that's the last thing you see is Perez on top. I mean, that could help sway the scorecards.
Tom, the status quo has not been outside the first round since April of 2023. Cardio will be potentially the question after the volume that both guys tossed out there.
Not only the volume, but dealing with the pressure that Perez is putting on. I mean, Perez is taking a lot of damage, but it doesn't seem like he's going anywhere. But when you are beating someone technically from point to point and they just keep coming forward, that's a different kind of pressure, Ben.
If that head kick connected, it could have been lights out for Gustavo Perez. Rob Hines gets us situated for round number 2. Tom, the status quo, trying to put some exclamation points on this one.
Quo coming out a little more measured here in this second round, and it looks like Perez kind of has a little bit more energy, possibly because of how that round ended.
Once again, the leg kick from Quo, and going back to it, Gustavo just reaching out, trying to maintain contact.
He has to keep his hands up. I think as you get antsy in a fight, you just want to put your hands on your opponent. But, I mean, the first principle in fighting is hands up, chin down.
Tom Quo doing a great job framing here, fighting for the underhooks, but Perez just a creature inside the phone booth.
And this is where the mixed martial arts competition ends and the fight starts. Perez is a fighter through and through.
Oh, Tom Quo got hurt! Gustavo Perez now all over the status quo.
Quo doing a good job of scooting out the back door there. However, Perez was answering. Beautiful, beautiful scramble. Nobody wants to give an inch in this one.
Even fight for both gentlemen. Gustavo Perez finding a way now again on the takedown.
Perez doing a better job finding a rhythm with his takedown and not rushing into him. He's waiting, you know, 2, 3 transitions into a stanza to throw the shot, and he's not just going in head first, and I think that's going to have him be more successful going forward.
Look at how slick Tom Quo is, just getting out of these positions and finding his way back to the feet. 90 seconds to go in round number 2. Another leg kick from Quo.
It's not only being slick, but he's not panicking even in bad positions, so he's always able to see an opening. Good position here by Perez. Taking the back of Quo, looking for the neck right away, but I want to see him settle before he makes any other adjustments, because if you don't lock that position down, you're liable to lose it, and now Quo's back in the fight.
Just over a minute. It is wet and wild here. Each guy just slipping around. The right eye of Tom Quo seems to be seriously impacted by some of those Gustavo Perez shots. Tom Quo might be fighting a little injured.
Perez just marching forward, man. I don't think he cares who's winning or losing. He just cares about moving forward and making progress, and that is draining Quo mentally.
Tom Quo taking some shots here. 40 seconds left. Perez with a handcuff on that far side. This Hammond crowd is getting loud.
Word to Khabib there with that handcuff. Perez just laying down heat from on top, looking to get that boot in and settle in to that backpack position on Quo.
20 seconds to go. Can Gustavo Perez choke out Tom Quo?
He has the rear naked choke. However, Quo doing a good job of pushing the elbow up here. Attacking top hands. He's not going to go away that easy.
Final 10 seconds. Perez putting all of his might into this submission. Tom Quo survives.
Wow.
What a battle here in Hammond between the status quo and the zombie Gustavo Perez.
You talk about suspense. I mean, I think that was the longest 10 seconds I've ever seen. We have Quo throwing the dynamic strike. However, Perez following up with that big right hand and sitting Quo to his butt, and just ended up in a dominant position on top. Another angle here, big right hand, let left even glance Quo on the way in. I didn't see that initially. Perez is just sticking to his game plan. moving forward, just breaking down Quo slowly but surely. Dominant positions on top. We saw him with the wrist, just looking to land big right hands. I think he took a lot out of Quo in that one, Big.
It's just debilitating, I'd imagine, having someone restrict every action you try to make to get back to your feet. Like you said, it's a fight. Now we get to figure out who these two gentlemen are.
And that's the thing about a fight. Quo is doing everything technically right. However, Perez is like trump card, prison rules. This is gonna be a fight, not an MMA competition.
Tom, the status quo, and Gustavo Perez, third and final round. This action brought to you by F3 Energy, and we're seeing a considerable slowdown in striking from both.
I'm gonna say it's 1-1 right now. This is the round here. If Perez continued to do what he's been doing, we can see him walking out with a bit of an upset here in the APFC cage.
And Tom Quo just trying to fight off from being broken, I would say, mentally.
It doesn't take much to break someone. I think Perez, what he's doing, his approach is more position over anything. Position over submission, position over strike. And him solidifying positions is giving him the upper hand, no pun intended, in these back and forth.
Tom Quo breaking the body lock, trying to transition and spin around, but Perez just on the hips. Now dragging Quo around.
Perez in a good position here. However, in that backpack position, he needs to get his hips a little more involved. I think Quo's a little more defeated because of the position in the macro. However, in the micro, you want to, when you get those boots in, you want to make that as uncomfortable as you can for your opponent on bottom. I think Perez is just kind of hanging on, as he should think more about applying pressure with his hips there and bowing his opponent's hips.
Tom Quo not making it easy, but Gustavo Perez doing his best to flatten him out and rain down some shots now in full mount with 90 to go.
I said it once and I'm gonna say it again. Perez got that dog in him, man, and that's carried him through this fight. And I mean, we have everyone in here standing on their feet just excited for whatever may come here in this next minute 15.
What does Tom Quo need to do to get back to his feet?
If you're Tom Quo, one, protect yourself, because you don't want to get caught with a big shot and it's not looking good for him. But he just needs to get up. He needs to move. He's worried too much about where Perez is coming from next, and he's not thinking where he needs to go next. And he's just giving into the position. I think he's more so accepted this bottom position, more so than he even has to.
Seems like the cardio is now working against the status quo. Rob Hines was taking a close look a moment ago. Gustavo Perez, meanwhile, captures the back once again and is hunting for the rear naked choke.
Perez is just attacking from everywhere, attacking the neck, attacking with the strikes, attacking with the boot position there, looking to transition, get on top, nice half there. Possibly look for him to transition to an arm bar. No, he's gonna look to go through the back.
Tom Quo is just too tired to explode out of these positions like he did in round number one. And Gustavo Perez taking full advantage, 10 to go. And we have an upset here in Hammond, David.
I think Perez can phone home a win here. I'm extremely impressed by his grit more than anything. He is not the prettiest fighter. He's not the technical fighter, but he is a fighter nonetheless.
Gustavo Perez battled young through all of the challenges life could throw at him, and now likely getting the hand raised and cracking the undefeated record of the status quo.
Great sportsmanship there by Perez, looking to shake his opponent's hand immediately. I mean, this is what we saw all night for the most part. You know, Perez looking to get to the grappling juncture of this, looking to pressure. Right here, that backpack position is where he essentially spent 2 rounds just looking to lock up his opponent's wrist, looking to land strikes, and just dominate his opponent positionally.
We have a new star here in Hammond. The first decision of Gustavo Perez's career. And while we may talk about defensive responsibility and keeping the chin off the center line, everything else, I mean, marks for him.
That is the beautiful thing about this sport. That's the beautiful thing about the cage and the nature of what this sport is. On any given day, a star can be born. I think Perez came in here. He wasn't looking to prove anything. He knew what he had in himself, and he just wanted the world to see it. And APFC, we saw it tonight.
We send it inside to Handsome Michael Hansen to find out the decision.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of action, we go to the scorecards. The judges scored the contest 29-27, 29-28, and 29-27. All for your winner by unanimous decision, Gustavo Perez.
Impressive grit and will to win. Still undefeated is Gustavo Perez as he locks up Tom Quo's undefeated record. And to Tom Quo tonight, right? Such a young guy, 22 years. I'm sure he'll bounce back from this in a big way.
There's nothing that Quo did wrong during that fight. I think the only thing, I mean, that you could say is he just accepted that bottom position and, you know, the cardio is in question. I mean, however, there was nothing he did and everything that Perez did correctly. The grit, the pressure, and just that domineering mindset pulled him through the night.
Gustavo Perez donning a Mexico jersey. Reminds me, May 25th, fight Fiesta. David Evans. Don't want to miss that APFC event.
Fiesta, we're back in Milwaukee, the hometown of the namesake Anthony Pettis. He always brings big crowds, let alone when we're in the MKE.
APFCX, what a event we've had so far. Many stoppages, many fun fights. That last one, I would say fight of the year in a lot of different regards.
Up there, I mean, I think that was a very cinematic performance. We saw the underdog come through and just shine tonight. I mean, and he didn't just, it wasn't easy. He went through hell. He went through fire to get that W, and then he proved that he could stand the test of what his opponent was bringing to the table.
5-fight main card of APFCX live on UFC Fight Pass. Only way to catch it. We'll see you there, here at the Hammond Civic Center.
Our special.
In about 20 minutes, we will be right back.